Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to our online classroom at Kuya Prof TV. Before I start my presentation today, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude to the faculty and senior students of De La Salle University, okay, for inviting me um, and to share with you my little knowledge about the strategies and management styles that some business organizations are applying in order to survive this pandemic. Okay, so I'm going to share with you today why some businesses survive and others don't. Our topic is business in COVID-19 pandemic survival management and strategy. Okay, according to health experts, academicians, world leaders, and business experts and entrepreneurs and even the ordinary people and all of us, we agree on this situation that the COVID-19 pandemic is primarily a global health crisis and it has had vast economic and social repercussions. As published in World Economic Forum, even with certain economies slowly and cautiously reopening, the combined effect of the pandemic and the necessary mitigation measures such as prolonged lockdown and physical distancing has led to a global recession, largely because of the rare twin supply-demand shock. Okay, it further explained that the twin shock caused by the outbreak has important implications for businesses. First, the supply shock reduces the economy's ability to produce goods and services at a given price because of the closure of non-essential industries and physical distancing measures. An industry reduced capacity to produce goods, for example, 60% of its pre-crisis output contributes to the supply shock. Okay, so everyone here experienced this shortage in supply. So we all experienced those. And that happened because people, workers cannot go to work to work. So companies cannot produce goods and services. That is why we have that demand and supply shock. Okay, so what? Okay, what to do next? Do you have anything in your mind right now? You might be having some sort of hesitation, doubt, fear, or any negative thoughts that and ideas that are running in your minds right now. Okay? Here you have to check all possibilities. What are the possibilities for you? What are the possibilities for your organization? Okay? You have to do whatever is the best for your team, for your organization, for yourself today. You have to make things happen. Okay, so let's consider this agility. In our next slide, you will see why we have to consider agility. Okay, now what is agility and why it is so important? Well, agility is the ability of your business to anticipate and quickly respond to opportunities in the market in ways that create competitive advantage and handle challenges and threats. This is both about how you work as well as how that change in the system and operation is executed by your organization. Now, let's talk about this first strategy. Business success in today's turbulent world because of pandemic must be both continuously dynamic. Okay, here the first strategy that companies should do is to combine speed and stability. Agility, according to World Economic Forum, is the ability of your business to anticipate and quickly respond to opportunities in the market in ways that create competitive advantage and handle challenges and threats. Okay, so that is agility. So they need to employ agility as a management strategy. Agility is the ability of your business, as mentioned a while ago, to anticipate that problem, okay, and quickly responds to that. That is very important for any business organization today. This is both about how you work as well as how you execute change in your system and operations, as being mentioned a while ago. Again, I would like to reiterate that organizational agility is the ability of company to quickly change or adapt in response to the tumultuous and rapidly changing market. It encompasses two major dimensions here, speed and the stability. As mentioned a while ago, we have to combine our speed and stability. With regards to the former, which is speed, business needs to be nimble and responsive in keeping with the changing times. So you have to really responsive to the challenges of the times. This includes being, innovative and dynamic in its thinking and actions. However, to ensure its sustained success and the ability to scale up operations, there needs to be a set of core elements, thus the latter component of stability or the solid backbone become crucial. Now, the next strategy here that should be employed by the organization is actually the opportunities in digitization. Okay, now it is very interesting to note that here, as published by the World Economic Forum in their website, there was a survey conducted in 2015. This is very interesting information. Listen to this. It is very interesting that in the said survey, 82% of the executives that responded agreed on a need to transform digitally. Okay, the way their firms or business source and manage both labor, okay, and labor and materials. Okay, labor and materials should be transformed digitally, but only 23% of them had devised and implemented the strategy for it. Okay, take note of that. Only 23% follow that result. Okay, however, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to a historic implementation of digitization in ways only possible in our imagination before. Okay, before, if we want to store, for example, and archive our data, we need to buy a storage device. If we want to study, we go to school, physical school, and if we want to install a particular software, we purchase an installer. Okay, right now, if we want to store our data, we could just subscribe to a cloud. Okay, if we want to study, we can just enroll online. Okay, and if we want to install our software in our computer, we should buy and subscribe that from a store, and the store will provide us the code. Okay, no need for us to be given this installer software and also devices, and we don't need to go to school physically. Right now, we are having this experience of online learning. Data suggests that in a matter of 8 weeks, we have vaulted 5 years in consumer and business digital adaptation or adoption. The outbreak has led to a structural shift, including in customer preference of digital engagement. Most of us here are having this experience of buying online, okay, and that is part of this. That is part of the benefit that we are enjoying right now because of pandemic, okay, and that moves to a remote working models for employees. We have right now the work from home, arrangement between employees and employers, which are likely to remain even post-COVID. Okay, that is the prediction. This digitization, this whole thing about online learning, about online business that is now sprouting left and right, that will remain with us even after this COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so if we are having this, experience that we are thinking of the game is already over for most businesses who responded quickly. Okay, for them it is not yet a game over. Okay, now we at our academy, for instance, have responded positively and quickly to these challenges. Our academy is our business before we have this publication, but because of pandemic, we decided to transform from publication of physical books into production and publications of e-courses, okay, e-books, and right now we are in the process of developing e-courses, e-contents, and some of them are actually being given and distributed to the public for free, okay, and we are distributing them through our different social media platform. One way to share these contents, as mentioned a while ago, is through our YouTube channels. Okay? The road is not yet closed. Okay? The game is not yet over. We can still continue the fight. Just move to a better and promising platform. Okay? As I mentioned a while ago, we could take advantage of the resources that we have right now. All the resources that we have are actually being given to us for free. We have different social media, we have different platforms that we could maximize the use. Okay, another strategy that a company should maximize is to use this visualization. Okay, now here we should consider the power of envisioning the future of higher education in a post-pandemic world. That is my example here because I believe all of us can relate to this. Okay, let us consider education's condition in the Philippines. Most schools right now, not only in the Philippines but in the entire world, have migrated from the traditional face-to-face to purely online, or some consider this as blended method of learning. In a survey interview conducted in the United States, for example, Eloy Oakley, Chancellor of California Community Colleges, the largest system of public education in the country with 116 colleges and more than 2 million students, said that teaching and learning right now will certainly have more embedded technology. Okay, why she mentioned that? According to her, during an interview, education have advanced 5 years in a matter of 5 months in the use of technology, because a lot of experts are saying that what we are enjoying right now, what are we enjoying today, is actually to be experienced 5 or 10 years from now. So because of pandemic, we are all forced to be adept with the use of technology. All of us here, all of a sudden, all of us are now having this online learning. All of us now are having this webinar. Before, we are having seminars, face-to-face education. We are going to different colleges and venues to attend seminars. But right now, because of pandemic, we are all forced to have organize this kind of event, webinar, and you can listen to me even though I am away from you, and I can give lectures to a lot of people remotely, and that is the beauty of the technology. Okay, and that is one strategy to use, visualization. Okay, and that's something that we have to hold on. So online learning is expected to stay with us in the higher education. It means really that a business, regardless of the industry, it belongs to, must respond to the challenges brought about by this pandemic. So in order for the business organization to survive this pandemic, Okay, business as an organization must visualize its future standing in order to remain in the competition. Okay, so another strategy that a company should consider is the invest in your skills. Continuous skilling beyond degrees is very important here, not only for business but for all members of any business organization. Now, let's talk about continuous skilling beyond degrees. In an article published by campustechnology.com, okay, Peter Cohen, president of the University of Phoenix with 87,000 students, predicted that continuous skilling will play a big role in the college of the future. He mentioned that a large number of working adults, moms with dependents already in their career and looking to get ahead, will enroll in the best and appropriate online course available for them. Okay? He mentioned this because the University of Phoenix is known for its online programs. It also operates 30 campuses around the country, serving 5,000 students, all of whom were moved to online classes during the pandemic. Just like in the Philippines, all of us were forced to move to online learning. In the Philippines, students come to the university in order to get a better job or get a better career. People see the real responsibility of the school, okay, that help people progress in their career. And we know that as we move forward with the challenge, okay, and changes in technology and the changes in jobs, those careers are going to change over time. The idea that you go to school once before, when you are young and you have the skills, okay, you need to get those skills for you to use that in your life, is no longer available. They're all gone. Now, online learning is the new method to equip yourselves and acquire new skills nowadays, even after this pandemic. Okay? So, better invest in your skills. Now, another strategy that companies should consider is the drive your way to succeed. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a visceral reminder of how interconnected entire societies are today. Okay? Despite the challenges, the pandemic has brought to light the importance of multi-stakeholder collaboration and the need for systematic resilience. In order to successfully build these components, the fabric of trust needs to be ingrained across seemingly diverse stakeholders, and businesses are increasingly understanding this. Okay? But in truth, in the various actors in the supply chain or between the employees in the organization, systematic organization will also be a key for business to regain the capacity to operate. Okay? The Transport Corporation of India, for example, okay, because this is India's leading logistic service provider, is one of the new champions to identify and develop this. Okay? In a sector still wedded to appear, waybills, receipts, and administration across multiple stakeholders, the firm work on its shared goals. Okay? A chain of actors through multiple calls and top points. It established trust from its stakeholders and used the opportunity to optimize supply chain process via digitization. Now here, companies should really do some strategies in order to survive. They have to drive their way to success. Okay, they must be successful in their own field of specialization, in their own industry. Okay, that is very, very important for any organization. Look for opportunities. Now, another strategy is for you to consider some 19 more unique ideas. As I mentioned, there are unlimited and infinite of unique ideas out there. Pandemic is definitely not the reason, okay? Not the reason for us to stop, okay, from exploring the world. Again, in summary, I would like to share with you the strategies that companies should employ in their organization in order to survive. Okay, what strategies to use, what management style to develop. Consider this COVID-19 strategies. Letter C, combine speed and stability. Letter O, opportunities in digitization. Letter V, visualize. Letter I, invest in your skills. Letter D, drive your way to success. And number 19, okay? 19 more unique ideas out there. Okay, actually there are more than 19 ideas out there. There are infinite ideas. But just to be, to follow this COVID-19, okay, I just stated here 19 more unique ideas. And it's up to you to look for this 19 unique ideas for your business. Okay, so that ends my presentation today. Thank you very much for listening to me. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kuya Prof TV. And if you want to have more video lessons about anything, about your schools, about your subjects, please visit my Kuya Prof TV. Thank you very much. Once again, this is Dr. Aldrin Tenerife Sacristan, aka Kuya Prof. Thank you.